Hey, what it be? It's your boy Dre OG. Welcome back to the OG family, man. Today we got the worst pain a human can ever experience, man. Let's run this thing up to like 5,000 likes, man. Consider subscribing to my channel, man, for the dope vibes. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but good energy over here at all times. But look, man, let's get into this video without further ado. And let me know in the comments down below, what's the worst pain you have ever felt as a human being? Some of y'all ain't fucking humans.
I remember a wasp stung me and I sobbed for a whole 5 minutes. But a wasp sting is nothing compared to the excruciating pain that some poor people have been through. From eye surgery without anesthetic to a plant with a sting that can torment you for years. I hope you never experience any of the agonizing afflictions I'm about to show you. So grit your teeth and brace yourself because it's time to learn about some of the most painful things a human can ever experience.
And we're not talking about pain like, oh, she broke my heart pain. We talking about pain, you know? Let's get it.
Stones and moans. Let's be real, peeing usually feels pretty good. But what if the next time you went to go pee-pee, you had to squeeze out a load of big hard stones from your nether regions? Well, this isn't a nightmare, but a horrifying reality for 1 in 10 of us. They're called kidney stones, and they form, you guessed it, inside your kidneys. If you don't drink enough water, your urine will become darker and more concentrated with your body's waste products. Keep this up, and calcium and other minerals in your urine can crystallize and stick together. These crystalline formations are kidney stones, and once they're inside your body, they're incredibly painful to get out. And that's because although they start in your kidney, they move around inside you and eventually pass down through your ureter, a grueling process that doesn't end when the stones get to your bladder. Woo! Then you have to flush them out of your pee hole, and this can be a whole lot worse. Sometimes, though, the stones don't move through your body. Instead, they get stuck inside your kidney and collect there, blocking the flow of urine and making the kidney swell up and bloat. One sufferer on Reddit described this pain as if someone had taken a steel javelin, heated it white hot, rolled it in broken glass, and then thrust it into their back and twisted it around for hours. Yikes. And you want to hear the craziest thing? The world record for the most kidney stones removed from one person is a mind-blowing 172,155.
How?
Fortunately, they had surgery. If they'd had to pass them all naturally, I don't think there'd be anything left of their pea shooter. Okay,
No.
I'm off to get a glass of water right now.
That thing would have looked like, boy, that thing. But all the meat from the inside of your thing could be gone, bro. Be in the toilet, bro, shooting out on them damn rocks. That's crazy, bro. Make sure y'all drinking your water out here. That's why I always tell y'all to hydrate, man. I got my shit with me, man. I ain't messing with that.
Grievous Gimpy. The name Gimpy Gimpy sounds like a fun magical sprite from a fairy tale you read as a kid, doesn't it? Sadly, that couldn't be further from the truth. Though the Gimpy Gimpy plant looks like a fairly standard nettle, this Australian terror has a brutal sting that's been known to last for weeks, months, and even years. Tiny hairs cover the plant all over, and the tip of each one contains a powerful neurotoxin that, if touched, breaks off and sticks in the skin, causing severe, long-lasting pain. At first, you feel an intense burning. This gets worse and worse for about half an hour, and then can last anywhere from a few hours to several days of sleep-deprived agony. And if you're really unlucky, it can go on a whole lot longer. Ernie Ryder, an Australian forester, found this out the hard way. One day back in 1963, Ernie was working in some foliage when he made a big mistake. He got too close to the Gimpy Gimpy. Never get too close to a Gimpy Gimpy, even if it is weirdly fun to say. Ernie stood on the plant accidentally, and when he took his foot off, the branch swung up and smacked him in the face and torso.
Ooh.
Instantly, hot, searing pain 10 times worse than anything he'd felt exploded across his body. It was unbearable. Ernie couldn't work or sleep for 2 days, and after he finally got some rest, the agony drew on for another fortnight. Even after that, it didn't stop completely. In fact, the stinging persisted for 2 whole years, recurring whenever he had a cold shower. Damn, cold showers are torturous enough without a punishing stinging pain.
Right, who the hell is this taking cold showers, bro, to be taking cold showers, bro? Like, all right, you deserve that, G.
The gimpy gimpy sounds pretty painful, right? But you know what would hurt even more? Missing out on all the exciting, informative videos I've got planned, so hit those like and subscribe buttons down below and never miss out again. Right, where were we? Solder eye. You know that itchy, uncomfortable feeling when you get an eyelash stuck in your eye? Ugh, horrible, isn't it? Now, imagine that, but a million times worse. Reddit user SmartassGuy used to be a plumber when one day he and his boss were soldering some copper pipes for a client. SmartassGuy held the pipes straight with a wrench while his boss used a hot torch to apply the solder. Well, it turns out his boss wasn't such a smart-ass guy. After melting some solder onto the pipe with his torch, the boss noticed a kink in the piping. Taking out his hammer, he hit the pipe to correct it, and as soon as he did, a bead of molten hot solder flew off straight towards SmartassGuy. There was no time to react. It shot straight into his eye, searing right through his pupil. The immediate white-hot pain was bad, but for days afterwards, it hurt to blink, hurt to keep his eye open, and hurt to keep it closed, too. It was like somebody was continuously rubbing coarse sand in there. The solder had burnt a jagged hole into his cornea, the clear outer layer in the front of the eye. Luckily for SmartassGuy, he escaped with his sight intact. And incredibly, the injury healed on its own in less than a week. As for his boss, well, I doubt they ever saw eye to eye again.
I ain't gonna lie though, I would have definitely be like unemployed, bro, and probably in jail. Cause damn, he done fucked my eye up, G.
Outrageously painful. Arthritis is a type of joint pain commonly associated with old age. However, there's a debilitating form you can get no matter what age you are, and it's the worst in terms of pain. Gout. Gout is a raw, throbbing inflammation of the joints that happens if you indulge in too much red meat, booze, and sugary snacks. These things all contain purines, which are common chemical compounds. When your body breaks purines down, it produces uric acid in your blood. Consume a lot of purine-rich food, and you'll create a lot of uric acid, which in turn causes sharp urate crystals to form and accumulate in your joints. Now, gout occurs most commonly in the joints of the big toe because uric acid is sensitive to temperature changes. Only at cooler temperatures does uric acid turn into crystals, and since the toe is the farthest from the heart, it's also the coolest part of the body. So yeah, if you get gout, it means you literally have hundreds of tiny, hard, razor-sharp crystals building inside your joints, rubbing against your flesh and making it swell up aggravatingly. Ugh. It's excruciatingly painful because the afflicted areas also become hypersensitive, meaning you might roll around in bed for hours trying to get comfortable, finally to get into a good position, and then bam! A light breeze from your window will be enough to send a hot pain ripping through your joints again. And if a breeze can be that painful, imagine what squeezing the tender area would be like.
Look at that shit.
Don't. Historically.
Imagine, bro. Like, I couldn't imagine getting that shit in my hand like that dude shit, bro, and I lose Palmelina? I don't know what I'd do without you.
The condition was known as the disease of kings because only the wealthiest could afford to overindulge enough to get it. Insanely, this association with wealth actually made it a status symbol amongst the aristocracy in 18th century Europe, who'd gloatingly nurse their big toes with an air of superiority. Imagine trying to impress a date by whipping out your disgustingly engorged foot. Man,
crazy.
Was I born in the wrong century?
Nah, people do like feet, man. Like when I was joking about me starting the OnlyFans with for ugly feet pictures and stuff, people was really trying to buy my feet pictures.
The heinous hawk. Remember how I said earlier that I cried after being stung by a wasp? Well, I'd probably start crying just at the sight of the pain-inducing insect you're about to see. This beast is the tarantula hawk wasp, and it has a sting so fearsome that tarantulas flee from it, scared of being paralyzed and killed. The wasps grow up to a beefy 4.5 inches in length, and the stingers themselves can reach a terrifying 7 millimeters in length, more than 2.5 times longer than a common wasp's. Your boyfriend might try to tell you size doesn't matter, but this time it definitely does. That's because if you're unfortunate enough to be stung by one of these things, insect expert Justin O. Schmidt says the only appropriate response is to lay down and scream. And Schmidt's worth listening to. He created his own pain index, ranking 83 different insects on how painful their sting is, all based on personal experience. You might think Schmidt sounds crazy, but the king of sting knows his stuff. A single sting releases a large quantity of venom that's non-lethal to humans, but produces a blinding, fierce, shockingly electric pain. Now that sounds bad enough on your hand or something, but just imagine it on your eye. Fortunately, eye stings from any insect are pretty rare. And this wasp isn't that aggressive. Plus, if you do get stung, the intense pain only lasts about 5 minutes, but it'll be a hell of a long 5 minutes. In fact, Schmidt only rates one insect sting as more painful than the tarantula hawks, and you'll have to hang around if you want to find out what it is.
Besides me getting hit by that damn car, I'd say the most painful thing is probably that damn black ass chip that I ate, man. Like that was some pain right there, man. It lasted like 5 minutes, but it felt like a smooth 20, 30, 40, maybe even a whole damn day. It felt like that, man.
A key issue.
Can imagine
if there's one shockingly strong pain every one of us can relate to, it's stepping on a Lego barefoot. Yeah, it's a bit cliche, but that's because it's true. What's worse than stepping on a Lego, though, is stepping on an upright car key. Or at least that's what this poor guy would probably tell you. Ouch. Okay, so I've got no idea how this could have happened, but I do know it must have hurt, like a lot.
Obviously.
The reason stepping on pretty much anything is so painful is because the soles of our feet have an absolute ton of nerve endings in them, making them super sensitive. For contrast, each of our palms have approximately 17,000 nerve endings, whereas the soles of our feet can have up to 200,000 nerve endings each. This seems like a pretty big flaw considering we literally walk on our feet, doesn't it? However, scientists reckon we've evolved this way so that we can feel what we're walking on with enough sensitivity to adapt our walking style to suit it. Say you're barefoot and have to cross a patch of gravel, then a patch of soft grass. You're going to walk across them both very differently, right? Well, without sensitive feet, you wouldn't feel the difference and would be more likely to injure yourself. What a catastrophe that would be. Fish out of hell. I'm not a big fan of fish. I mean, I'll eat it, sure, but at a restaurant, it's rarely my first choice. I'd like this fish even less if one was shoved up Be Amazed Jr., if you know what I mean. Okay, so no one's been running around forcing fish up people's private parts, but they don't have to. The Candiro does that all by itself. These tiny fish roam the waters of the Amazon basin in South America, hunting for prey. Spines on the covers of their gills allow the fish to attach themselves to other bigger fish and feed on the blood like little underwater vampires.
These mugs really out here hunting for booty, y'all. Wow.
But for 200 years, more sinister accounts of these vampiric fish have spread across the globe, supposedly using their spines to get lodged in other places. The most recent of these tales took place back in 1997, when a man known only as FBC
Oh, he about to get
was out
violated.
by a river in Itacoatiara, Brazil. The urge to piddle arose, so he took out his wonkadoodle and added his own stream to the river. But suddenly, a gut-wrenching
Said,
pain
"Bam!"
ripped through his wiener.
Oh, got his
Something
wiener.
had swum up it and got stuck.
Oh.
Yep, a candiru. The frightful fish was lodged inside his
Oh.
urethra, spines sticking agonizingly into him and preventing its removal. Hours upon hours of surgery was the only thing that could get it out. Just the idea of a spiky, slimy creature stuck up there makes me gag. But thankfully, this story is
I can imagine.
probably just that, a story. While candiru do exist, there's no real evidence of the fish ever swimming up anyone's pee stream. Only legends and hearsay.
But
It
say, boy,
should.
because they have to split that thing down the middle like a hot dog and get that mug out. Oh, man. Oh, man. That'd be like the worst day of your life right there.
It'd be physically impossible for one to overcome the force of the pee flow anyway. Even so, would you ever risk a swim in candiru-infested waters?
Nah, I'm cool.
Let me know down in the comments.
Absolutely not.
Unforgiving fibromyalgia. The one reprieve about the punishing pain inducers I've mentioned so far is that they've all been curable. But some things aren't so simple. The sufferers of fibromyalgia know this all too well. The incurable condition not only causes pain throughout your whole body, but also increases your sensitivity to other pain. So if constant pain doesn't sound bad enough for you, anything painful at all is turned all the way up to 11, meaning a bumped knee might feel like a broken bone. As well as enduring this hell, sufferers are fatigued, stiff, and find it difficult to concentrate or remember things. But the worst part is that scientists aren't even sure what causes the disease in the first place. It's been linked to both physical and mental factors, so the physical trauma of childbirth is just as likely to bring it on as a particularly bad breakup. They think its roots lie in the central nervous system incorrectly processing pain, but I'm sorry to say they don't know for sure. What we do know is that you really don't want to get diagnosed with it. Here's one to you, fibromyalgia sufferers. Torturous torsion. Ask any guy and they'll go to great lengths to explain just how much being walloped in the crown jewels really hurts.
Right.
This is because the male nether region contains a huge
Hurts your
amount
stomach,
of
man.
densely packed nerve endings in a small area, which aren't protected by any bones, muscles, or fat. So a solid hit to them can feel world-endingly painful. However, there's a fate far, far worse. And one I'm going to have to word very carefully so it doesn't set off all of YouTube's takedown algorithms.
Right.
Testicular torsion is when the cord that connects a man's marble to the rest of his body twists around, cutting off the blood supply to the marble itself. As well as immense pain, sufferers feel sick, feverish, and dizzy. Don't even try talking to them. It'll be like they're on a different planet. A planet of pure pain. Crazily,
I'm telling
you
you.
don't even need to be doing anything active for it to happen, fellas.
Right. You could be sitting there, man, and it just something as simple as that. Turn your whole day upside down, man.
It could happen in your sleep. But scariest of all, if the torsion isn't untwisted through surgery within 12 hours, the lack of blood can, brace yourself,
Ooh.
completely kill your marble. That's right, total marble death, to the point one or both of your crippled conkers will have to be removed entirely from their casing. I know I've covered some grim stuff in this video, but testicular torsion is truly twisted. Sinister syndrome. When you're on a hot vacation, nothing's quite as relaxing as taking a dip in the cool ocean waters. You know what could really ruin your zen, though? If somebody swam up behind you, pulled out an electric drill, and started relentlessly drilling into your lower back with it. Yeah, that'd be pretty bad. Well, unfortunately, the sting of an Irukandji jellyfish is said to feel just like that. This group of minuscule box jellyfish measure in at barely half a cubic inch, the same size as a human thumbnail, and can be much smaller. so they're practically invisible in the waters of Australia where they're found, which is a problem because they're one of the most venomous jellyfish in the world. Despite their teensy size, the Irukandji sting is 100 times more potent than a cobra's bite. Accidentally brushing against one of these tiny terrors will at first feel like nothing more than a mosquito bite. But then the pain will grow and grow, making you feel nauseous, giving you a pounding headache, and causing all the muscles in your body to cramp up excruciatingly. This is called Irukandji syndrome, and before it happens, you'd better have made it out of the water and got medical attention, or things will get a whole lot worse.
Oh, damn.
Some nurses have reported treating patients who vomited every single minute for 12 hours and sweated so profusely that their bed sheets had to be wrung out every 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
These people were the lucky ones. In rare cases, the bite-sized jellyfish have even been known to kill. And to top it all off, throughout the entire ordeal, the sting brings on such an intoxicating level of anxiety, the victims feel an overpowering sense of impending doom. Crikey. If it's anything like the impending doom I feel when my alarm goes off in the morning, ooh, it must be terrible.
And that shit crazy. Like, you gotta think, bro. See, that's why I be telling y'all, I be, look, man, it's not that I can't swim. It's just like, I don't fuck with the things inside of the water. You know, like, why would I want to fuck my day up by putting myself at risk and this shit happen to me? No, I'd rather sit here and watch y'all go through it.
Stone stent. We've already covered the tormenting agony of kidney stones. However, I didn't tell you about the aftermath. Interested? Well, seeing as you asked so nicely. As we've seen, in especially bad cases of kidney stones, surgery can be required to remove them. After this surgery, your ureter, that's the tube that carries pee from your kidney to your bladder, might be a little damaged and not functioning correctly. In order to ensure you can piddle properly, there's only one thing for it: taking an 11-inch long rubber tube and ramming it up your pee hole all the way from bladder to kidney. Wait, what? Okay, so the procedure's a bit more delicate than that, and the tube's proper name is a arterial stent, but the end game is the same. The stent keeps your ureter open and prevents blockages. As if going through the hell of kidney stones wasn't bad enough, now you've got to walk, talk, and live with a great big plastic tube stuck inside you. Unsurprisingly, your body doesn't take too kindly to this intestinal intrusion. You might get bladder spasms, constantly feel the need to wee, be sick, and boy, don't get me started on what it's like to actually pass urine. Reddit user Difficult Minute describes the pain of peeing as so bad it brings you to your knees. But to reduce the risk of infection, you have to drink as much water as you can. So with every sip, you know you're drinking yourself closer to another bout of severe suffering.
That's crazy.
What about when it's time to take the stent out, though? Don't worry. It has a piece of string attached to the end of it that pokes out of your pee hole the entire time you have it in. Oh, and by the way, if the string so much as tickles against something, it'll send a sharp spike of pain right up your gonads. After up to 3 whole months of this torture, your doctor will take a good hold of the string and yank the entire 11-inch nightmare out of you. Man, you'd be feeling pretty strung out after that ordeal.
Why they gotta keep going back to that? That just makes my stomach hurt the whole time, bro. That just makes my stomach hurt the whole time, man. Make sure y'all drinking y'all water, man. You don't want to be out here like that. That's crazy.
Antagonistic Ant. Earlier on, I mentioned how the tarantula hawk ranked number 2 on Justin Schmidt's pain index.
Bullet ant is number 1.
So, what insect sting is painful enough to take the top spot? Well, it's one you seriously don't want to mess with. The bullet ant.
Told you.
This monster of an ant grows over an inch long, and its sting is so powerfully painful that many people believe it's the worst pain known to man. Schmidt described a bite in his foot from the ant like walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch nail embedded in your heel. Not only this, but the pain can last an entire day, coming in waves of agony. And if you happen to get stung while wandering the rainforests of Central and South America, where these blighters live, you're unlikely to be stung just once. That's because after a bullet ant stings you, it releases chemicals that signal other ants to repeatedly sting the target too. Oh, come on. The ants inject you with a
Hell no.
toxin, which, as well as triggering excruciating pain, can also cause temporary paralysis, fever, and an irregular heartbeat. Yay! But at least it's not fatal. There's actually an indigenous tribe called the Sateri-Maue in Brazil that use the ants in a coming-of-age ritual. At just 13 years old, children of the tribe must put their hands into gloves full of the angry, stinging insects for a full 10 minutes.
What?
Australian comedian Hamish Blake tried to
10 minutes? Look, man, I gotta be real with y'all, man. I would probably, look, at the age of 12, I will be on my way to somebody else's country before I put my hands in that damn thing with them fucking bullet ants. Like, that is insane.
complete the ritual.
My daddy
but
have to be
found
mad as hell
pain
at me.
So intense,
Guess I ain't
he
no
passed
man.
out and had to be hospitalized. Luckily, he left with nothing more serious than a swollen hand, although he left his dignity with the 13-year-olds. Strabismus surgery. It goes without saying that having a time machine would be
Look with your
pretty
eyes.
wild. There are some points in history, though, that I really wouldn't want to go back and see,
Right.
like eye operations in 18th century England. Back then, medical science was a lot more, rudimentary. Before anesthetic became commonplace, surgeons carried out complex and often harrowing procedures without giving the patient any painkillers. What's more, the whole affair was carried out in an operating theater with an audience of curious onlookers. As such, people were terrified of surgery, and rightly so.
Of course.
Now, English surgeon John Taylor was the first person to try and correct
That look like a, boy, that look like a black man right there, don't it?
amblyopia, a childhood condition also known as lazy
is.
eye, where vision doesn't develop properly in one eye. Today, most cases are treated by placing an eye patch over the good eye, forcing the weaker eye to develop. But Taylor's methods were nothing short of horrifying. Taylor would lie a patient down on the operating table, force their bad eye open with a little metal tool, and take up a pair of surgical scissors. Then he'd bring down the scissors toward the patient's lazy eye and poke them right into the corner, making a deep incision, all while they were completely conscious. As if a pair of scissors stabbed directly through your eye wasn't terrifying or painful enough, Taylor then snipped a slice through the bad eye. Jeez. This, he explained, was to cut the nerves of the extraocular muscle, which is the muscle
Oh
that
my
controls the
God.
movement of the eyeball. But it turned out that Taylor was a fraud. The cut he made in his patient's eyes were just random slices, and to hide his shoddy work, he patched the patient's good eye up after surgery. Without the good eye for reference, the lazy eye looked as if it had been fixed. So not only did his patients
Wow.
endure a traumatically painful surgical procedure, but they also still had a lazy eye at the end of it. Yeah, I'd be pretty cut up about that one.
Imagine going through all of that and you got this man cutting on your damn eyeball like this, man, and your shit still messed up. The stuff that people believe in, you know, like even for me, bro, like it's just like I have a lot of like common sense. Not saying that I know everything. It's just like certain things, bro. You know, look, what did he say he was gonna do? That shit just don't. Some shit just don't sound right, y'all. We gotta stop believing everything. You gotta look, man. Do your own research on things, man. Like actually take care of yourselves out here. Like a lot of these medicines and stuff that people take nowadays for like high blood pressure. High blood pressure, that's something that you can easily fix with your diet and exercise. Yes, it can be brought on through some types of genetics sometimes, but that you can always control that with like what I just said, through diet and exercise and changes of habits. You know, break those generational curses, and it starts from within. you start fixing those things within, then everything on the outside will start to just fall into place for you. You know, but look, man, I've said enough here. Hopefully y'all like this video, man. I'll see you on the next video. Man, support my links down below. Join the Discord while you can. And you know what I'm saying, the Patreon. You got to get on the Patreon for the lowest tier first. Then you can get into the Discord, people. Without that, it is what it is. But look, man, like I always say, spread love because there's too much hate in this world. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. I might change it. But for right now, I'm really rocking with the people I'm rocking with. But I love y'all.